Okay, second step to how to crush imposter syndrome and move through fear is to reframe failure. And I'll tell you briefly that I've worked with lots of powerful women, from celebrities, the top CEOs. All-star women make 6, 7, 8 figures. And the one thing they have in common is that they don't look at failures as a disaster or they're not good enough. They look at failures as a growing, as a learning. So what I want you to do on another piece of paper is write down what your biggest failures were in life, whether it was a divorce or you dropped out of school or you ran a business into the ground and went bankrupt, or whatever you consider to be a failure that happened. And then another time, after you're done watching this, write down what you learned from it. Because there's a lesson in everything. And you cannot move on from the failure successfully unless you find the lesson. Now, what I often find is that, especially women, we often beat ourselves up about our failures, and that's because we're comparing ourselves to somebody else. I don't care what somebody else is doing, and you shouldn't either. This is your life, okay? Because what happens is you're comparing yourself to that person's high. You didn't see their failures. You're just watching them at their peak. You watch all this social media noise and you see them at their peak. You don't know their story. Every single person has failed. In fact, on average, most people fail at least 7 times. I'm always baffled when I read stories of famous people and how many times they have failed, if you really get the backstory on it. In fact, J.K. Rowling, we all know, was not successful on the first attempt. It took 12 publishers. Now, how many of us would have stopped at maybe the first or second or third? Do you stop at the first no, at the first failure? You cannot stop. You have to keep going. The difference, this is what makes people successful, is they don't stop at the first failure. They learn from it, redirect. It's kind of like the universe saying, you're going the wrong way. Why don't you turn a little bit this way? And then things will open up. And I certainly know this because I'm someone who let a lot of failures happen in my life. For example, I can count on both hands how many jobs didn't work out for me, careers that I was not working. And if I stayed stuck in that, I wouldn't be where I am today. But it was a way of redirecting. You have to look at failure as a blessing. It's good. We need failure because it helps us. Okay, it tells us when we're off course. And every single person, no matter how much money they're making or how successful or how confident they appear on the outside, feels the same thing as you and I. They feel self-doubt. They feel imposter syndrome. They feel fear. Because if you don't, you would be a narcissist. That's the only type of person who thinks they can do everything perfectly the first time. Most of us are going to make mistakes. So keep learning from your mistakes. That's number 2, step 2. What did you learn from your mistakes?
Okay, again, I'm going to trust that you did this exercise. And I'll see you in my next email of tip 3, how to crush imposter syndrome and flip fear. In the meantime, go to daraconnolly.com and check out my brand new PTC, Positive Transformational Confidence program. You're not going to want to miss this event.